co-host Jeremiah, who's waving. What?
Do it one more time.
God damn it! I know that one was good.
No, you were
that
rushing.
One was exciting.
No, don't.
Well, okay, I just listened to Silence of the Lambs and I talked so.
Because you were drunk, yo.
Yeah, you were drunk before we started.
I'm a lightweight now.
How many times did you say put the lotion on the skin?
Put the lotion on the skin or get the hose again.
See?
Some
people just want to watch the world burn.
You literally...
Let's do this over again.
Okay, from the top?
From the top.
God damn it.
I'm going to start the timer this time since I forgot
I'm
to
so
start
sorry. I as I was reading, I was like, oh, fuck, I forgot to add that part.
And
I've had a stressful
here
day.
we
I'm sorry.
go.
Welcome back to another episode of Season 3 of 3.5 Gentlemen, the podcast, where 3 of the 4 hosts provide a refined and intellectual analysis of movies from our private collections, and one of us tries desperately to keep up. We'll let you decide which host is which, but for now, my name is Sean, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts, Jeremiah.
How about a magic trick?
Woo!
It's gone.
It's gone.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
And Brandon.
If I could do a Morgan Freeman voice, I would, but I'm not going to.
Eddie Dufresne was my best friend. This season, we decided that each host will pick a film from each decade, from the 70s to today, that exemplifies that time period. Some of the films will be underrated, some classics, while others will be overrated piles of cinematic crap. To finish off each decade, the host will have a group pick that wraps up the decade in style. As with every review we give, our goal is to answer one simple question. How many drinks does it take to get through the film we've just watched? At the end of the podcast, we'll rate the movie based on a scale of 0 to 5. 0 is the perfect film that you can watch stone cold sober, and 5 being the sort of film that makes you want to burn a pile of money with an accountant and some gasoline. In addition to our review, we always pair our selection with a cocktail that we hope will enhance the viewing experience. This season, we want to focus a little bit more on the cocktail selection, so please feel free to Please feel free to shake, stir, or mix the cocktail that we've chosen and settle in for what
Sean's
we hope
already
will
started
be
the shaking.
an engaging review. With that, what movie are we reviewing tonight, gentlemen?
Well, tonight we have our first entry in our 2000s films. We have 2008's follow-up to Batman Begins. We've got The Dark Knight. With the help of Allies Lieutenant Jim Gordon, played masterfully by Gary Oldman, and the new DA, Harvey Dent, played by the one and only Aaron Eckhart, Batman, also known as Bruce Wayne, also known as Christian Bale, has been able to keep a tight lid on crime in Gotham City. But when a vile young criminal calling himself the Joker, played by literally the one and only Heath Ledger, one moment of silence, suddenly throws the town into chaos, the Caped Crusader begins to tread a fine line between heroism and vigilantism. This Christopher Nolan directed sequel is rated a 9.0 on IMDb, has a critic score of 94 freaking percent, and an audience score of 94 freaking percent on Rotten Tomatoes. The all-star cast is rounded out by Michael Caine, Morgan Freeman, Maggie Gyllenhaal, and literally you included him in it, and thank God after our last one, but the one and only...
It wasn't the last one.
It wasn't our last one. That was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy. I feel like we just recorded it, though. I feel like we just recorded that one. What?
Jer, first impressions.
Oh, before we get into our cocktail selections, we need to talk about whose film this is, and additionally, what our initial impressions of the movie were before sitting down to watch it. Since this is Sean's film, Sean, why did you pick this amazing classic?
YMCA.
So, I'm a huge superhero fan. My favorite superhero, obviously, is Superman. But I remember watching Batman Begins and getting so excited about the new direction of the franchise. It was darker, it was gritty, it was realistic, it wasn't super focused on special effects. And when they announced The Dark Knight, I was one of those few idiots who said that Heath Ledger would be the worst Joker in the history of film. And why is Christopher Nolan ruining this movie with him? And I was actually in Wyoming playing baseball for the summer when I watched this movie. And I remember our friend Daniel was watching it somewhere else, I don't remember. And the time difference made it so that he saw it before me. And so he told me it was great, like as I was walking into the theater, and it pissed me off something fierce. So anyway, that's just the memory I have. And
it's a
that's
good
why
story
I
right there.
Movie.
Yeah.
Brandon.
Yeah. So I don't like superhero movies. If you have listened to basically any of these previous podcasts, that's for you guys. But I love Batman. I've always loved Batman. And the reason I like Batman is because he's grounded in reality, right? That he doesn't have superhero abilities. He has superhero gadgets, right? What is it, Justice League? His superhero ability or whatever is that he's rich. And it really kind of shows through in the portrayal of Bruce Wayne, Batman in the Christopher Nolan trilogy. And to me, there is no better example of a superhero movie grounded in reality than The Dark Knight. I was not a huge fan of Batman Begins, but I was so excited to see The Dark Knight, mainly because of Heath Ledger. I was a little bit worried about kind of the direction he was going, if it was going to be over the top campy, kind of like the Nicholson Tim Burton one, but instead, when I saw him walk out on the screen the first 5 minutes or whatever, I was sold. So I mean, sitting down and watching this movie for the podcast was just really exciting because it's been a while since I've seen it. So thank you for giving us the chance to watch it again, Sean. Eddie, what you got?
I am very similar to Brandon's first reaction. It was Heath Ledger. I mean, he died earlier in the year, and this movie came out in July. And I was just already like all in on this. I was like, I just heard stories about how he just nailed it. And this was his second to last movie that he did. So I was really, I liked The Knight's Tale. Like I was all about Heath Ledger's movies, besides one of them that I didn't really care for. But anyways, let's move on.
I swear to God, if it's 10 things I hate about you,
no,
I will literally jump across the screen.
It's one of Jake Gyllenhaal, but I don't know about that one. But anyways.
Oh, Brokeback. I love that movie.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I never watched it.
Who doesn't want to be? Who doesn't want to be? Are you kidding me? Who doesn't want to be at the bottom of Heath Ledger?
Anyways, also like I liked the darkness of this. From Batman Begins to this, it was just like it just set a tone. So I was really looking forward to a new Joker of our era. I mean, everyone remembers Jack Nicklaus, but like it was just like okay, like this is. It's kind of the way I confirm it is like it's hard to pick which Batman's the best movie, but because you have between like I want to say like it's almost like you can't pick a baseball hero that's the best baseball player of all time. You have Babe Ruth, Mike Trout, Ken Griffey Jr. So this is
Mike Trout in there.
He's another generation. I'm telling you.
Mark McFreaking Guire.
Exactly, just stuff like that. So it's hard to pick. I loved it. This is a great movie in my timeline.
You guys are all talking about Heath Ledger, about, like you were just not certain that he was going to be perfect for the role. And I remember like when...
I didn't say that. He was going to be perfect.
No,
hey, shut up, you did.
Sorry. You had questions.
I said he was going to be terrible.
I was a true believer of Heath Ledger, and I knew that he was going to nail it. But I remember going to seeing I Am Legend. I remember there was a teaser of The Dark Knight, and I was with my friend Jared. And I remember seeing it, and the first time I heard like Heath Ledger just like laugh and his presence on screen, I was completely sold. I literally watched that trailer so many times when I came out. I just couldn't get enough of it. And I remember I literally bought IMAX tickets, and the first minute you see is a whole bank heist thing, which we're going to get into pretty soon. But yeah, this movie has been my all-time favorite comic book movie of all time. Seriously. So I'm pretty excited. Thank you, Sean, for choosing this movie.
Agreed.
Eddie, of course. Eddie, take us through the cocktail, and because I'm kind of excited to start talking.
All right, guys. This is going to be a long one. As we mentioned earlier, with each movie, we try to pair the tone, feel, and overall impact of the story of a cocktail.
A lot of ingredients, Sean.
This season, we really want to discuss the cocktail and more, and how it leads up to the movie selection. Everyone who listens knows that when we finally watch a Bond movie, we pair it with a happen. We will one day.
It's on the schedule. I just put it on the calendar. That shit's happening.
No.
We'll pair it with
You're right,
vodka.
because whatever we put on the schedule stays
Shut
on
up,
the
Brandon.
schedule.
Shut up. Brandon, shut your mouth. We'll pair it with a vodka martini, shaken not stirred with a lemon peel. But tonight's cocktail was chosen by Sean. So Brandon, shut your mouth. So he'll be talking to us through the cocktail. Sean, tell us.
Actually, I'm going to let Brandon go through it because... no, I'll do it.
Wait, Sean, you look a little nervous. Is it the cocktail?
The Dark Knight. Well, I've had too many of the cocktails. That's the problem.
I feel like you don't talk enough in these podcasts, especially as the host.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I am the host. The Dark Knight is an exhilarating entry to superhero canon. It's both dark and brooding, and it has a stylistic flair of its own. Tonight, we've chosen an equally complex cocktail called The Dark Knight.
Ooh,
This
where'd you get that one?
espresso-based martini consists of coffee liqueur, coffee-flavored vodka, vanilla rum liqueur, creme de coco,
Oh no!
and
Cacao?
a shot cacao, and a shot of espresso.
Oh.
For a complete recipe, please visit our website at thegentlemanpodcast.com or visit us on Instagram at the.gentlemanpodcast. The dot means a lot, where Jeremiah lovingly posts a picture of our cocktail that we enjoy every other week there for your enjoyment, and so you can drink it and listen to the podcast.
And share it with your friends.
So
You,
I've got to be
drink
honest.
this during the morning, right, guys? Just want to make sure.
I
Let's
hate
try
coffee.
this martini here.
I hate coffee, so this is not.
This is like
Let's give it a try. Here we go. Clink, clink.
Clink,
Virtual
clink.
clink.
This is like your grandfather's favorite drink.
This is like the drink you drink at like a sports event, watching your kid while you in the morning at 11 a.m. when you're hungover.
It's more like this is the drink that you have one sip of because you're on a podcast and then you don't have another sip of.
No. This is like a Baileys and coffee Christmas morning martini.
Oh. I like the Baileys and coffee, just minus the coffee. Just
It feels like it puts a little hair on your chest,
All right, let's get into the review. Let's start by I mean, we can start wherever we want, but I want to kind of talk about the grandeur of Nolan's universe. When Nolan brings a story to the screen, I feel like it's big, it's bold, it's
complex.
Shot.
Right?
Yeah, it's go ahead, Brandon.
No, I was just saying it's so complex. I mean, you look at something like Inception, which is just complex in the storytelling, but the worlds that he creates, I don't care if we're talking about Memento or if we're talking about something bigger like the Dark Knight trilogy, or even Dunkirk, which I think is a subpar movie. He creates such a detailed complexity to the visuals, to the storytelling. And even though this one doesn't jump around in time like a lot of Nolan's do, there's still something to the storytelling technique that isn't just straight linear. And I think that that's something that really is stylistically his.
I think he was able to do something really cool with The Dark Knight. It's almost like a crime thriller of a movie disguised as a superhero comic book movie. Did you guys get that vibe in the beginning of the movie?
In the first 10 minutes or the bank heist, I felt the heat. I felt like that was what they were going for. And
doesn't it feel like a 007 beginning too?
It
like
very much did. That's what I was going to say.
Right?
It felt like you were setting up the story in a way that was no dialogue, no exposition. It was just about introducing you to a character. And one of the biggest criticisms I have of all superhero movies is that they underdevelop the villain. The villain comes out of nowhere, and then the villain's kind of shitty. In this particular story, Christopher Nolan, David S. Goyer, and Jonathan Nolan decided they were not going to give Joker a backstory. They were just going to throw him in
the best thing ever.
The deep end.
The best thing ever.
Yeah. No,
what better way to introduce him than to basically have him kill his whole crew during the heist of all the mob's money, not the good guy's money. He's stealing the fucking bad guy's money, and I think that's just super interesting.
Which is the best thing, because then when he sets it on fire later on, right, we see that it was never about the money at all. It's just to piss people off. But what I think, Jeremiah, you said it, and it's really interesting, is that this is a heist movie. This is a caper movie. But really, the main character in this isn't Batman, right? I'm not going to say he's hardly in it, but he's in it sparingly, where the more definite character that we follow along with a whole lot more, I think, is the Joker.
And Harvey Dent, when you think about it.
Yes, and Harvey Dent, absolutely.
Yeah, this movie definitely put an aspect of, there are seriously two lead actors in this movie. Like, everyone knew what Batman was from the Batman Begins. Mm-hmm. So it set a precedent of what this movie is going to be about. And the Joker, I mean, it could have been a movie just about the Joker. I think everyone would have been fine about the movie. But it was just so cool of how he, like, every small detail the Joker had of exactly knowing the bus when it arrives, mm-hmm. and everything was so cool. It made the Joker not just like this silly person, like, he was smart.
It was almost supernatural, right?
Yeah,
it's almost
controlled chaos is cool, yeah.
So one of the things I love in movies is themes, and creating a theme that transcends the genre. So in my opinion, what this movie did beautifully was it created like a triangle of good and evil. You had evil in the Joker. You had the superficial good in Harvey Dent. the White Knight of Gotham City, and then you had Batman, who was willing to essentially color outside the lines in order to preserve the relationship between good and evil, or the dichotomy between good and evil. Go ahead, Brandon.
Right, but what I'm thinking is interesting because the theme that I saw is really this idea or this questioning of what do you have to allow yourself to do in order to reach the greater good, right? It's definitely, I mean, it's such an ethical and moral dilemma movie that we see that everything from the constant talk of Batman and is he righteous in his violence and in his badness, right? In fighting crime, and then we get that when we have the trolley. Really, the what is it? The trolley conundrum at the end with the two ships. That what should you do? How far should you allow yourself to go and morally slide in order to preserve the greater good? And to me, that's the interesting thing here. And one other thing I just want to say is we're going to talk a whole lot about Heath Ledger, but I still want to throw out Christian Bale is to me one of the great actors of our generation. I think that he, as silly and stupid as the Batman voice is, and it's gotten ridiculed over the years, rightfully, I still feel like he embodies Bruce Wayne so well, and I think he taps into that American Psycho Christian Bale. You don't like that? You don't like him?
I mean, I'm not a fan of Christian Bale in these movies. I think Christian Bale is a fantastic actor. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think he's a good Bruce Wayne in Batman. First of all, anyone can play Batman because you can't see his face.
No, you cannot. Not anyone can play Batman. George Clooney.
Not everyone can. First of all, George Clooney could play Batman. I don't think he could play Bruce Wayne.
Val Kilmer was freaking amazing.
Listen. There's a path here, and there's two people here, okay? There's either going to be Adam West and Michael Keaton Batman, and there's going to be Christian Bale Batman. Come on. We all know about this.
I'm an Adam West fan.
I am a Val Kilmer. I love Val Kilmer.
You went to Val Kilmer?
Batman forever, man. Shoot.
I guess my biggest criticism, and this is not a criticism of Christian Bale as an actor. I think the character is limited. I think Bruce Wayne is boring. I think Iron Man. Iron Man and Batman are very similar characters, right? They're guarded by their technology and their wealth. Iron Man is dynamic and funny and clever, and Batman is more a broken.
You love Iron Man.
I love them both. But that's
the thing. You can't compare both of them, Sean, because you just said it right there. Bro. You have one person that's just like wants to be in the spotlight, and you know how Christian Bale portrays Bruce Wayne is like it's almost like a cross the bear to portray that person. And he does it really well. He doesn't want to be that person. I
feel like this movie more so than Batman Begins for sure is that you see the brokenness of Bruce Wayne and how much he wants to give up the cape. He wants to quit. He wants to go off with Rachel. He wants to have a good life. But he can't.
I will say this too, from the first movie.
Good job, Brandon. High five.
You're not a huge fan of Batman Begins, but the whole relationship between him and Ra's al Ghul, between him and Liam Neeson, was about creating a symbol that people could use to essentially, I don't know,
stand up for themselves. I think.
Yeah, have faith in a system, like have faith in something bigger than themselves. And I think that this movie kind of challenged that concept a lot successfully, because like you said, he did not want to be Batman. He didn't want to go be beating up thugs on the street. He wanted to create a world where Batman was unnecessary or not necessary.
AKA Harvey Dent.
And Harvey Dent was the White Knight. He was the one who was going to be the public face of what Batman was doing in the shadows.
Which I think that's a good jumping off point, because to me, I think one of the big surprises, at least when I was watching this, is when you have another decision, right? Joker makes everybody make a choice. But we have the big choice between saving Rachel and saving Harvey Dent. And the big surprise... We are jumping. But the big surprise is that Bruce Wayne Batman goes and chooses Harvey Dent because he has so much faith in Harvey Dent. I think that's to me so interesting.
I don't think he chose
he went to Rachel actually on that part.
That's the Joker.
Joker switched it up. He knew that he was going to go for his little bunny.
I see it. Yeah. I see the Joker doing that. Yeah.
He switched that up.
I will say this, and I know we're progressing way far into the story, but I'm sorry. Gordon should have gone into that. Like, they pulled up to that warehouse and they're just like hanging out outside, waiting for it to blow up. Like, I think they could have gotten in and gotten her out. Like, it kind of pissed me off.
I agree. But I also see the Joker. He did that switch on purpose because he saw he could use Harvey Dent. If he kills Rachel, Harvey Dent and Bruce. I think he kind of knows. Rachel's death is more important than if Harvey would have died.
Well, and his whole purpose was to have the backup plan of Harvey Dent falling from grace.
Yes.
And so he wanted
to
corrupt
calculated moves.
Right. And the Joker's theme throughout the whole movie is that he believes that man, or mankind, I say generally, not gender specific, mankind will fall. Mankind will, if given the opportunity, choose the bad path, not the good path. And that
in real life?
Yeah, that's what Joker was.
Oh, that meant like right now, today.
No. Even today, guys. I mean, what he's saying in that whole kind of like confrontational scene in the room. These civilized people will eat each other. He's pretty much saying that, you know, these people will turn on you. And just what society has done with a lot of people where we live in, you know, everyone is eating each other. Like, seriously, what the Joker is actually like, you know.
But when neither boat blows up, right, it blows up in his face, like literally and figuratively. And to me, that's one of the most interesting moments is when he looks out at the boats and he realizes that it's past 12 and neither boat is blown up. And that shows that there is still some sliver of goodness.
And that's one of my favorite
and
lines.
It's such a great part.
When he looks at Batman and goes, you can't count on anyone. You got to do it yourself.
Now, do you think that boat scene that the Joker had actually given the opposite detonators?
Yes. No, whoever would have turned the switch on would have blown itself up. I'm 100%.
That's what I'm saying. So whoever turned the switch on would have blown themselves up.
Yeah.
Because that's So that's what.
Not the other boat.
Not the other boat.
You're suggesting that if the prisoners had pushed the button, they would have died, not the other boat.
Yes.
Okay. So,
I don't know. I think that it would have been more hardcore.
The Joker switches everything.
I thought that was one of the things that I really like about Christopher Nolan is he subverts expectations constantly in his stories, in his storytelling. And I think that was one of the most interesting scenes when the criminal, the convict, said, you know, give it to me and let me do what you should have done, you know, minutes ago, and throws it out. I think that there was a couple of surprising good scenes. Like even if going back to the beginning, I mean, in the bank heist scene when William Fichtner, who I love absolutely,
who was also in Heat, by the way,
right, in the bank manager, and he's like, "Do you know who you're stealing from?" Like it just shows you how deep the corruption is in Gotham that the bank manager knows that the people banking at the bank are the mob. They're not stealing it from, you know, little Sally and you know, whatever. They're stealing from the mob. He's stealing from the bad guys. And William Fichtner is willing essentially to shoot his shotgun and die to protect mob money. That's how deep the corruption is in Gotham.
And I love the fact that the whole story has to revolve around corruption, greed, chaos, anarchy, and heroic sacrifice. And this is all in a comic book movie, mind you that.
Right. And I want to point something else out in case you guys haven't caught on, but I do believe that Anthony Michael Hall is our most frequent 3.5 gentlemen show up.
No.
This is our third movie.
What was the second one?
Edward Scissorhands.
Oh, God,
Breakfast Club.
Edward Scissorhands.
And this one, I don't think we've had another one. I know that. Well, we have two. Keanu Reeves
and Cillian Murphy.
We got Cillian Murphy too,
man.
Keanu
Reeves. We've got The Matrix, and we have that other god awful movie that we need to talk about at some point.
But we also have Brian Cox. Brian Cox has been at least 3.
Can we talk about?
I feel like Brian Cox should have been in all of them.
Hey, he's on a McDonald's commercial. He's actually making it, guys.
I want to talk about Michael Caine. Anyone?
Michael
Alfred?
Caine.
I can talk about Michael Caine forever. Real quick, what is your favorite Michael Caine movie? Because mine is Muppet Christmas Carol.
Of course it is, Brandon.
Mine would be Jaws 4 because he just did it for the money and he was also drunk during the whole time.
Mine is The Dark Knight.
Who let the dogs out?
My dogs are hungry.
So Michael Caine, the best Michael Caine movie, in my opinion, is called Secondhand Lions.
Oh yeah, I knew you go there.
I absolutely love that movie.
I thought you were going to go and say the Slaughterhouse Rules, you kings of New England.
I don't like that one. So the other one that he was in that was great was A Man Who Would Be King with Sean Connery. That was another great Michael Caine movie.
Mm-hmm.
Has anyone ever seen the Trip movies with the trip to? It's like the trip to Italy, the trip to Spain, the trip to
no.
So it's 2 comedians and they do Michael Caine impersonations. It's fucking hysterical. You got to go YouTube it. It's just fantastic.
I love Michael Caine in this movie because he says so many just like heartfelt things to Bruce and just always trying to make sure that he learns from it, especially like talking about when he used to be part of this unit, and he found out about this one person that we're chasing and he was just He just wanted to watch the world burn. That was such a great speech right there.
But then I feel like he's such a great character because he uses the same, or Nolan uses the same, I guess, aspects of him in Dark Knight Rises, and he is kind of always been the conscience that Bruce Wayne needs.
Yeah.
I mean, even in Batman Begins, why do we fall? So that we can learn to pick ourselves back up.
Right.
He does have this Gandalf, Yoda kind of.
It's this movie and
Obi-Wan.
It's this movie and The Prestige. Those are the two.
Prestige.
Yes.
We'll be doing The Prestige at some point next season.
Absolutely.
Just promise.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So I want to back up for a minute though, and I want to talk about Michael Caine and his. We talked a little bit earlier, Brandon, about themes and how you think this theme is. The question of the movie is how far do you go morally to preserve basically society, right?
Yeah.
So that's
and goodness,
at the end of the day. And goodness. So Michael Caine had a letter from Rachel.
Yes.
Rachel told him that letter was not sealed, which to me implies read the letter. And
Katie Holmes is that related to Jake by chance?
Yeah, they're related. Jake Gyllenhaal and Maggie.
Son of a...
I will say this: the best role she ever had was in
Stranger Than Fiction. Yes.
Oh, so good. Anyway,
so good.
So Michael Caine has this letter from Rachel that basically says that she's not in love with Bruce anymore. She's going to go with the DA, Harvey Dent. She's going to go ahead and move on with her life and leave him in the dust. And then at the end of the movie, where Batman, Bruce Wayne, realizes that Rachel's gone and that she was going to go with him, or that's what he thought, and that we can never tell Harvey Dent. That's when he picks up the letter and burns the letter. So here's the question: morally, ethically, he should have given the letter to Bruce. But in my opinion, preserved.
No.
Morally, ethically, okay. So this is what makes this movie, I think, so brilliant on a philosophical level.
Yes.
Is that the moral, ethical thing? Is that sometimes you have to bend the right thing in order to do the moral thing and do the ethical thing.
And so here's my problem: truth will out. How do you? What criteria do you use to arrive at bending or breaking the truth, and who are you to make that decision? That's the question that I have.
But here's the thing. We all are making those decisions each and every day, right? It's
every day.
The white lie.
Good job.
I'm not saying that it's right or wrong.
I know you're not.
I'm saying it's wrong. What criteria are we using to make them, and why is it right? I'm not arguing with you that that's not what should have happened. I'm just saying that is not the moral and correct thing to do.
But
I disagree
pretty
with
much the whole story of the movie and everything like that, regarding to what we do, right or wrong.
Here's the thing: is the whole concept, and I think the conclusion that this movie arrives at for that philosophical question is what hurts others the least, and giving him the letter would have hurt Bruce Wayne. And so by him burning it, he is preserving his I guess, his blindness to the truth. But this is where this movie is proposing that morals and ethics can be bent in order to preserve the greater happiness of most people.
It comes down to
each individual.
It also comes down to Bruce Wayne, Batman, pretty much making Harvey Dent still look like the good guy and never having him take the fall. Mm-hmm. That's a good move. Because the city needs it. The city needs it. The city.
It reminds me a lot of Watchmen too, right? When Dr. Manhattan says, "Put it all on me and give everybody somebody to hate." It's the same concept. And
I understand the concept. Here's my base question: if you're going to allow morality and truth to be bent and broken at the whims of mankind, at what point will that society, as it's happening now, turn that greater good against society, which happens constantly in the world?
Well, it's the Bolshevik Revolution right there. It's the overthrowing of the Romanov family, right? Is that the communists came in, the Stalinists came in, and they took over, and they established what was supposed to be this good thing, and they just destroyed everything. And that's where, I mean, we could go on and have a whole governmental.
And I'm not trying to make it. I'm not trying to make it.
But
that.
I do think that this movie, and I'm abstracting this absolutely from today's world, but this movie is saying that there is enough goodness in each person, and I know that that's a stretch. I know, but this movie is saying there's enough goodness in each person that the good for others will eventually come out. And the answer is eventually, right? It's not a for sure thing of every time.
And to your question, Sean, I mean, everything what people can actually do and whatnot, use it to, the Joker did it. The Joker used every little ounce of regarding to people bending and breaking and everything like that. He says it in the whole confrontation with Batman. He says, like, they'll throw you out like a leopard the moment they're going to outcast you. And that's what happens in the movie.
That's exactly what they do.
And I agree with you 100%. And I think that this movie does a beautiful job of showing that breaking point and the back and the rubber band. So it shows you that here's what people are capable of. I'm going to give them an opportunity to destroy themselves, to destroy you, to destroy the world, essentially. And we're going to see how far we can push them before they start to bounce back. And I think this movie does it beautifully.
I love the fact that we get another introduction to the Joker within 29 minutes of the film, where he actually kind of makes fun of all the gangsters and the mob and everything like that, yeah. And he shows how pretty skillful he is regarding to taking a man down barehanded and shit.
He wants to get magic.
He has a pencil.
When he drives the pencil into the gentleman's skull.
Yeah. Yeah. Before John Wick, I'm just saying, And a lot of people keep saying this, that there's a theory that the Joker is a former soldier or something like that, based off of some of the information, like knowledge of explosions, firearms. He's a fighter. He knows how to take a person down, When he's talking to Harvey Dent, he's mentioning, if I tell someone a truckload of soldiers are going to be blowing up, nobody panics because that's all part of the plan.
He has a crew that's very loyal to him, too.
He's also very smart. A lot of people don't know, there's not an origin story about him, but a lot of people might think that he has, some type of military background regarding to where he's come from.
He's got 50 origin stories, which is beautiful about his character.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but what I will say to Eddie's point about his crew, this is something that I liked and didn't like about the movie. One of my favorite scenes of the movie is when he says, we only have one opening between three people, breaks the pool stick and says, hurry up and decide who's going to kill who. But here's my problem with that. If you create a situation where everyone is killing everyone, like in the first opening bank sequence, basically, he just said, okay, after you're done, kill this guy. After you're done, kill this guy.
They weren't his crew, though.
Well, I mean, they kind of were.
But I think it's a revolving door, though.
At some point, that methodology of hiring henchmen is not going to be.
But the thing is, the Joker doesn't care about that. He's the agent of chaos. That's all he wants to do. He wants to just make everyone strip down of who they are, and the monsters come out.
He's a true villain,
dude. He's seriously psychotic and evil.
Ahead of everyone.
And
and the fact that
and seriously, you gotta give praise, so much praise of Ledger and how devoted he was to create this character. I mean, there's theories that he locked himself into a motel for 6 weeks to just figure out this character, his body mechanics, his laugh.
The thing that a lot of people are saying, which is terrible, is that this is the movie that basically drove him to
insanity.
He died.
Okay, but I did read some stuff from his family, and they said actually it was the opposite. He really enjoyed playing the character.
Yeah,
he was not depressed.
I read that too.
He was actually super excited about the way the movie came out and his performance. He was there was a great scene with him and Aaron Eckhart when they're in the bed in the hospital room, and Aaron Eckhart was getting worried because he was mumbling and kind of weird before the take. And right as soon as they yelled cut, he was like, "Oh!" And he broke character. He's like, "That was fantastic. That's acting. That's why I got into this." It's I
know he had some insane insomnia. They said because of this, because of what he did in preparation for it. So I don't think it's necessarily the role that broke him, but it's his preparation for it that really kind of drove him over the edge.
I read also that his whole character, costume and face paint, was him.
Yeah,
it was him. That's what made it. He knew what he saw a vision. And I remember, I think he purposely didn't want Michael Caine, or I think also Maddie. Or Rachel, during that scene where he pretty much takes Bruce Wayne's party. There was a scene there that Alfred never saw him, and he freaking scared the shit out of Michael Caine.
So the word around the campfire about that, bro, is that Michael Caine had a couple lines to interact with Heath Ledger when he opened up the elevator. The moment the elevator opened up, he saw Ledger's face coming out, scared the shit out of him, and he forgot his lines.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Michael Caine forgot his lines. There you go. That's worthy of the Academy Award right there.
So I have a question. I just want to ask a question real quick because it's something I feel like we kind of talked about Rachel, and I just want to go back to her real quick. And do you think that Rachel ever really loved Dent? To me, was she always for Bruce and Dent was just basically an escape? Or, I mean, what do you think?
I think she was going cross between, and I think regarding to putting the situation of the danger of all of it and whatnot, it just kind of pushed it over the edge to go with Harvey Dent because it was more of a safe, solid, option than being with Bruce. Even though she loved Bruce, she was just tired of the whole baggage that Bruce has.
I think she still wanted Bruce though.
You still wanted the rose?
I think that she was in her head making a logical choice, but that doesn't mean that her heart wasn't with Bruce. I think her heart was always with Bruce, and to pretend otherwise, I think, is disingenuous to her character. I think what really it was about, because even at the end, like when she's sitting on the chair with the surrounded by the gasoline, she's like, it's okay. They're going to come for you. They're not going to come for me because you're more important than me. And that whole scene, I think, kind of proved that she had just as much hope in Harvey Dent as everyone else. She was putting all of her logic and all of her hope in that man.
Man, when I remember seeing that scene for the first time, that really caught me off guard. I was like, oh, she died. There she goes, man. Shit. That was pretty nuts, man, actually.
I think we need to take a little bit of a break. I need a new cocktail, so we'll see you guys in a second. We'll be back shortly.
And here we go. Welcome back, everyone, to Radio Land.
Why so serious?
Are we doing American Graffiti again? Because I feel like that's what
I fucking love that movie.
Okay, wait. For Brandon's here, Brandon, let me just do this. What's up? Welcome back.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Lucius Fox, about Morgan Freeman. In this movie, I think it was so interesting because this was kind of a foreign addition to Batman, for me at least. I mean, we had gone through, the Michael. I grew up on the Adam West Batmans, and we had the Michael Keaton Batmans, and we had Val Kilmer. And we had George Clooney, and now we have a whole new ensemble
Robert Pattinson.
cast.
I think Robert Pattinson's going to knock the shit out of it.
I think he's going to do really good.
So I think he's going to be shit, which means he's probably going to be fantastic.
He's going to be.
There you go. He's going to go to Heath Ledger.
So going back to what you were talking about with Lucius Fox, I think that what drew me to his character in this movie is, again, that moral, ethical question. I don't want to just keep talking about the same thing, but this idea of spying on everybody, and is that moral? Is that ethical? He says, I'll help you out this one time, but this is my resignation. And I love Bruce Wayne, Batman's response, which is just log out afterwards, knowing that he was going to self-destruct the shit out of the thing. Right?
Knowing that the whole Facebook whistleblow.
Yeah.
Knowing that this is the only one time I'm going to use this.
Quote-unquote real whistleblower.
Knowing that this is the only one time I'm going to use this. Right, Brandon? Yeah. Right. Like, he knew Lucius Fox was already against it. So he's like, I'm using this only to take down the Joker, and then we're getting rid of it.
And there was, I think and Brandon, I know you don't want to keep bringing it up, but I think this movie constantly probes the question of how far your morality will go in order to support the bottom line, support the goodness in people.
Batman, Bruce Wayne, he put people around him that he could trust that are good people. Right. Alfred. Lucas Frost, Morgan Freeman, Rachel, even Harvey Dent at one time.
And what this movie did, I think, more successfully than all the rest of the Batmans, is it created an ensemble. Batman wasn't a loner. Like the Michael Keaton Batmans, it was basically him and Alfred against the world. And Alfred was his cover, and that's it. He didn't really have any significant help in society.
Oh, well, you did have a kind of a Harvey Dent with Billy D. Williams.
He was in it for one scene. And I loved that was the best part about Batman Forever, which was what's his name?
Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yes.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Wait. So
Jim Carrey was actually decent as the Riddler. Come on now.
Was this the first Batman to go out of Gotham as Batman to actually go to a different country? Right?
I think so.
Not only a different country, just outside of Gotham. This is the first one that happened outside of Gotham.
Dude, did you read something about like I believe Christian Bale actually was near the edge of that whole building when they took that shot overviewing him and everything like that? Like he seriously has. That's like fucking.
I mean, that's a Tom Cruise move right there. Yeah,
that was before Tom Cruise got all crazy, yo.
Crane shots, though. He's the king of these massive crane shots that introduce a very geometric, well-planned building shot. Like there's no director who has that impact on screen like Christopher Nolan does.
Yeah.
So I think have a little Mission Impossible feel to it, by the way, with the Skyhook program.
I think that we need to talk about Harvey Dent. At least I want to talk about Harvey Dent because
Sure.
my only real complaint with this movie is the speed at which Harvey falls. And I know that we can't have this movie go on another 45 minutes, even if we want that. But to me, it just went too quick. And I don't know what I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on that.
Eddie, why don't you give us?
I think they messed up. I think they were expecting Heath Ledger not to kill himself. To be honest, they were expecting Joker to come back as a Joker 2 or Part 3, and I think Harvey Dent was just one of those characters that was come and go. But they realized they messed up. I don't think they meant to kill him. The movie was so good how it's shot. They had to keep it, but then they had this role of the Nets villain.
But I'm talking about literally like Harvey Dent. He goes from the White Knight, and granted, we have that scene where he's basically threatening the mental insane person with the gun, and Batman comes to stop him. But ultimately, I feel like he goes from the White Knight to this murderous, like the scene where he says he's going to shoot the driver, and then shoots the driver, and basically says, "Hey, I'm going to commit suicide." Maybe it just seems so unnatural for his character, and I just thought maybe I'm wrong. I want to see your thoughts.
I think it's the difference, and I believe he was actually looking more regarding to I believe there's some type of psychological situation.
Like he couldn't feel any pain.
Yeah, like like it literally brought him to another different level regarding to just a different person who they are and whatnot. And I honestly believe that it did kind of roll a little quick. I mean, regarding to that, he had half of his body burnt. He was upset that everything that he worked for and everything that he tried to do and everything like that didn't matter at all of it. So he pretty much lost himself at the end of the whole situation. And when you lose yourself in anything, what else do you have?
And to be honest, the Joker won there. The Joker won. That's the main person the Joker wanted to take down, and he did.
I'm going to agree and disagree with you, Brandon, a little bit, because even from the very beginning, Harvey Dent as a character had a past, right? So he was in internal affairs. He investigated all these corrupt cops. They called him Two-Faced. He had kind of an edge to him. And I do think that he got pushed over the edge rather quickly, but he was building a life. He was on the side of right, and he got everything taken away from him. And then the conversation with the Joker, I think, is what really twisted his meaning. So all he wanted to do at that point was strict revenge. It was revenge on who he was trying to find out who was the cop who he probably investigated that picked up Rachel and brought her to that place. And so
it was his own people that got rid of Rachel.
What more trigger do you want than losing the love of his life and then immediately going into revenge mode? That's not necessarily fast. I think what my problem was number one, I thought the computer generated graphics of his face and his appearance bothered me tremendously.
It was amazing.
I did not like that at all.
Oh, I thought it was actually really good.
I actually thought it can hold up, dude.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it held up. It's not too. Anyway,
I mean, it wasn't like Pirates of the Caribbean where they're just like CGI craziness, dude. And that's another thing about this movie was so good. It's like they didn't really use that much CGI. That freeway tunnel scene. That's probably one of the best action scenes I've seen all year.
The thing
Hold
on. I'm not. One more thing about Harvey Dent. The thing that really bothered me about the movie, and it does affect my score because I think it was either rushed or lazy or both, is that he went after Gordon's family. The one person who really had faith in Harvey Dent and who helped Harvey Dent, he went after his family.
He never trusted him.
No, Sean, you misread the whole situation. He knew that he had crooked cops in his team. He knew that this whole thing, and he blamed him because he actually kept, whatever this Batman situation close to his pocket. He didn't do anything about the cops, and it was the cops, his district, his team, that actually set him up and also set, Rachel's death.
Okay, so could you argue then that Harvey Dent was pissed off because the morality of Gordon and of Batman led to him losing Rachel, the immorality, the failures in morality, the failures to fix the cops, fix the situation, and he was playing by the rules and doing everything correct, and still he lost. And maybe perhaps that is his trigger. Is that closer?
It's more
closer.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little closer on that. You have to see that Gordon fucked this whole thing up from the get-go.
I guess I don't see that because he's working I mean, my God, the bank fucking manager is corrupt. Everyone's
Gordon
corrupt.
Gordon has dealt the
Gordon knew
cards
that
in
he
front of him.
had cops corrupted in his system,
Yeah, but
and
he
he
did-
did
he
nothing
said- he
about
said
it.
it perfectly,
His
Jeremy,
two
earlier in the
right,
movie.
his two right-hand people, right? His
Ramirez
go-to person
and-
was corrupted, and
But he said it.
But
he
said it
let
perfectly.
that situation go.
Yeah,
the
but he
previous
said it
commissioner
perfectly.
was the one, though.
But he said it perfectly in the beginning of the movie. If I didn't work with these cops, I would have no one to work with. There's no one left. He's doing the best
Yeah.
he can with what he has.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's what the whole theme of the movie is Batman's doing the best of
But see,
with what he
friend,
has.
if you remember that Harvey Dent already didn't like Gordon, and it was Rachel that kind of said, "Oh, he's one of the good ones." But Harvey Dent thought he could have been crooked too, so he already had this negative aspect
That's
of
true.
Harvey of Gordon. So he believed like, oh, Gordon must be in on it too, to keeping these crooked cops. But Gordon's
but-
just like,
but-
these are the only cops I have. Is that
But
or
let's
no
look
cops?
at this though. Let's look at this though. Why is it that Harvey Dent didn't like Gordon? Is it because he thought that he wasn't good enough, that Gordon wasn't an upstanding citizen enough? Because then that, to me, goes and cuts out the legs under Harvey turning bad. Like it
No,
just
because
doesn't
he
make
thought
sense.
Gordon
To me, it
was-
was a frustrating thing.
He thought Gordon was weak. He was weak, not doing anything, and he let it happen. He let
I
all
can
this
see that,
stuff
yeah.
happen, and
This
that's the
happened
reason
under
why
his
Harvey
watch.
Dent went after him, because he wanted to make sure, like, he's responsible. He let the Joker win. He brought
But
the
by that
Joker into
mentality-
he brought the Joker into the station.
No, by that mentality, then Harvey Dent would say that he himself is weak. I don't. I
There
hate
was a
saying it, but I agree with
yeah.
Sean.
Who else would Harvey go after though? There's no one else for Harvey to go after.
Exactly.
The
He
Joker.
shouldn't have.
No,
Okay, here's what I
the
think.
Joker
I think it
came
was
up to him
lazy.
and told him that I'm just a dog chasing.
I think
a
it was
tyrant.
lazy
Like, I'm
writing.
not
I
the
think it was
one.
the only time. It was lazy writing. They could have given him more of an instigating thing
See,
than.
I as a comic fan and as someone else outside, I would have done this. So Barbara Gordon, which I believe is Jim Gordon's daughter, ends up
Yep.
being Batgirl. Okay.
Never
So
showed
I
him
think
this
right.
secret
So
use,
what I would have done is I would have lured Batman, really, who is the creation of the whole problem. The reason that the Joker rose to fight the city to kill things was because of Batman existing. All he wanted to do was create the chaos and get Batman to reveal himself.
Yes.
So a more natural story progression to me would have been to bring in the daughter of Jim Gordon and his wife to lure Batman, knowing that Batman would protect Jim Gordon's family. And that seems more natural than, oh my God, you ruined my life and you took away my, your incompetence as a police officer led to somehow the death of my fiance.
Wait,
Like,
Sean,
that
Sean,
doesn't
Sean,
seem
time out.
genuine.
You said it right there in the beginning of it. Why did Gordon take such a long time to get into the warehouse to actually rescue Rachel? He had a chance to rescue Rachel, and he did not. He failed. He failed at that situation, and that's why Dent went after him
Oh,
and his
yes.
family.
Okay,
Yeah.
that I can buy, but that was not
Ooh,
clear.
that's a good one.
It was kind of clear. He was after the family. You took, wait, let me say this right. You let them take something of mine. I'm going to take something of yours.
And I get that concept, but it was never really clear that, first of all, my
That's
problem
Christopher
goes back
Nolan,
to,
though. That's
yeah,
Christopher
my
Nolan.
problem, it goes back to what Brandon said, though, is who was going after Rachel and who was going after him?
Like, I get what you're saying. Yeah, the switch. But I think that Batman read the switch. I think that he
I don't
saved.
think he did.
I think
No,
that
he
he
did
saved
not.
Dent
Because
on
when
No,
purpose.
did you-
he
I
came
think that
out,
he
there's a
saved Dent
split-
on
if you
purpose.
watch the movie over again, he opens the door and he's shocked to see
surprised.
Harvey Dent.
Yeah, he was surprised. You see a glitch in Bruce Wayne's eye, like he was like,
I'm
"Shit."
gonna rewatch this. And,
I wanted to
and
see. I was
see.
going.
We're going to
after
get text
Rachel.
messages later on. He's like, shit, you're right.
There's a split second you see in Bruce Wayne's eyes. Christian Bale is just like, "Oh fuck, Joker played me."
And Gordon was outside just dancing around, waiting for everyone to come in and just let the building blow up.
So in the movie, Batman tells Gordon that he was going to save Rachel and they should go for Harvey, but instead it was switched.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think that Bruce Wayne, and I'm being dead serious, I think Bruce Wayne put so much stock in Harvey
Brandon,
Dent.
there's lines from the movie.
Oh, I know.
Gordon yells, "We're going after Dent." So they thought they were going after the opposite people
Yep.
in the movie. I
think Batman read that and knew that there was going to be a switch. I think that
no,
he knew
in the movie he said,
Oh, I
"I'm
know.
going after Rachel."
Exactly,
So you're
because
saying
he
that
will-
he
because
off screen
here's
made
what.
the
No.
decision?
No. No. You guys are misunderstanding. No, he said that so that they would all go to the same place. He was sacrificing Rachel. We have to see that. He's sacrificing. He wants to make sure that Dent survives.
No, to see there was this whole letter of like, oh, I was supposed to live with Rachel, and Rachel chose me.
I don't.
I think
I'm
that he cared more about the greater good. No, I think
you
it goes back to this.
Watch that scene again.
No, I know what scene you're talking about. I do know what scene you're talking about. I think that this is an example of what do you do for the greater good, right? You sacrifice those things that matter the most. Okay, well. Anyway,
I think Bruce Wayne. I mean, Batman. He still though did something good. He was like, okay, well, fuck, I have to save Harvey Dent now. Like,
I'm gonna go back and watch it.
No, it blew up on his face. The Joker got out. The Joker just he planned the whole thing out. I mean, he seriously manipulated everyone in that whole district right there. It was unbelievable.
Can we talk about that hospital scene?
Let's talk about the tunnel scene, dude. I mean, dude, you saw a big ass fucking rig flip the fuck up. That was such a great scene, dude.
Yeah, it was.
And look at the blocking when the Joker is standing with the AK in the middle of the street, just like come and hit me. That whole scene, to me, that what Christopher Nolan did without dialogue to develop the Joker, and what Heath Ledger did to create the character without dialogue was fabulous. It was probably one of the greatest character stories you've seen on.
Right there, you already knew. It's like, okay, well, Batman, he doesn't want to. He's good. He's not going to kill the villain. He's not going to
kill somebody. Yeah,
right.
And the best scene in the movie is the interrogation scene. When they're both in the character, they finally meet together and they're talking about each other, and you see the Joker literally just getting under his skin, and you've seen Batman.
You never start with the head; it makes him go foggy.
And you see him beating the shit out of him, and he keeps taking it. He wants more of it. He's just laughing at him, and that's, to me, it's just like you have nothing. You have nothing you can do with. There's nothing you can do here.
There's nothing to lose.
There's nothing to lose. Yeah.
So do you guys think that one scene where the phone was inside the person, was that a picture of the Riddler? People always joke about that scene.
So that was a big
Easter egg
or whatever. Yeah. But
was that the Riddler? You think possibly? They just never went with it.
What? It was a question mark? Was it a question mark?
It was a question. It was
Get the fuck out of
here.
I think if Heath Ledger hadn't died, I think they were going to bring in the Riddler, and it was going to be Riddler and Joker.
And there was a lot of rumor
Dark Knight Rises.
There was a lot of rumor that it was going to be
Joseph Gordon,
Leonardo DiCaprio. There was a lot of really good rumors about who the Riddler was going to be and what kind of character they were going to be. Then there was Johnny Depp was thrown out there.
Yeah.
What I thought was also interesting, and the hospital scene I think was fantastic. The blowing up of the building was fantastic,
which is so great.
But one of the scenes that I think is overrated, it's not overrated, underrated, was the relationship scenes between at the funeral with not the relationship scene, the funeral where Gordon dies or Gordon pretends to die to protect his family. Like that whole little trickery in the middle, I thought was super interesting. When all three of the government officials die at the same time, like you could see this coordinated effort to bring down the city, but also it feels chaotic. It feels like nobody knows what they're actually doing.
Right.
Good point.
No, I think so.
Good point.
Let's talk about the last scene of the movies and everything like that. That last final shot scene between the Joker and Batman, where some of my favorite lines in this movie is like, this is what happens when an unstoppable force meets an unmovable object. And I just love the fact that he's like, I think you and I are destined to do this forever. And that scene right there is so fucking amazing to me. What do you guys thought about the whole scene?
It's the use of the camera angles and flipping it so you don't know what's up and what's down. Again, I don't want to keep going back to morals and ethics, but literally that's the entire movie. It's a philosophy course, or at least a philosophy discussion. That, I mean, yeah, the Joker is horrible, but we don't know really how Bruce Wayne / Batman's really seeing this idea of chaos. He knows that he's going to go and lie about Harvey Dent. He knows that he's going to change basically the dynamic that he has had with Gotham. I think that there's so much here that Bruce Wayne is so confused. He's upside down, which is just so perfect that it mirrors what the Joker is physically.
I think Bruce Wayne also knows that the Joker has valid points of Gotham. Like Gotham is at a very low, and he's just like, okay, well, I mean, like, I have hope in humanity, and the Joker's like, well, I'm going to show you, like, you're wrong. But really, it could be a flip of the coin. Like, like some people, depends on who you get, really. Some people have that moral, some people don't.
And that's what Harvey Dent says, a beautiful line where he says, you do everything right, you do everything wrong, it doesn't matter. It's all up to chance. That's the determining factor of whether something is successful or not.
Right. You die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And I mean, it's so true for him. It's so true for everybody. And I think that it's a great example of what this movie does.
I did see a meme, though. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it was a picture of Robert Downey Jr., the guy who Benedict Cumberbatch, and who else?
Mark Ruffalo.
Oh, no, it was Henry Cavill. And it said, be a hero long enough to become Sherlock Holmes.
And that brings us to the end of review. Now it's time of the podcast where each of the hosts provides his score on the following scale. Eddie, can you provide our following scale, please?
Yes, I can. 0, the perfect movie. You don't need shit to enjoy it. 1, a feel-good first cocktail. 2, a happy buzz. 3, an Uber lifting home. 4, rough morning watch shame. 5, blackout shit-faced spring break drunk. Gentlemen, let's start with myself. So this movie portrays so many different philosophy. I don't know. I don't want to say philosophy. Philosophical. I like that word.
Well, cinematographically, we can say philosophical.
Cinematographically, this movie is a great. It brings down the ethics. It brings down to what's morally good and right. There's so many different values in this movie that but it holds too. Like, this movie's 2008, and I watched this movie the other day, and I was just like, oh my god, this movie still holds so much value today with the stuff that we're going through every single moment of this day. I feel like, and it just shows. I don't know, that shows Christopher Nolan, or it shows just the value of the movie. A lot of his movies have this value to it, and I enjoy it. I never feel sad watching this movie. I always enjoy it. I love my kids watching this movie. It's what's one of my all-time favorite superhero movies. I'm a Marvel fan, so this is my favorite DC movie. This makes it also. This is my favorite Batman movie too. Like he did definitely take over the Michael Keaton Batman for me. I grew up on this type of Batman, and I liked it. And I don't think it can ever get better than this, to be honest. Personally, I'm gonna leave this movie at a 0.5, half a shot. So I'm gonna do.
That's just a shot, by the way.
Yeah,
a
come on.
shot, yeah.
Figure the fuck out.
I said a half a shot, so I'm gonna go 0.25.
There you go.
You already put a 0.5.
No,
Wait,
0.25. Nice, dude.
What, are you going 0.5 or 0.25?
0.25. I just had to change it on my little.
I said half a shot.
Yeah,
So wait,
half
are
a
you going
shot is
0.25?
0.25. It says originally that's what I was thinking in my head, but I said 0.5 by accident. Sorry,
Okay.
I did
All right.
0.25.
Okay.
Brandon, what do you think?
Promise that's what
Okay.
was in my notes. 0.25.
Okay. Well, so again, I don't like superhero movies. I don't like comic book movies, with the exception of V for Vendetta or Watchmen. You should go listen to those podcasts. Those are great ones. There it is. Shout out. That said, The Dark Knight is not a superhero movie. I mean, it is by default, but it is so much more. It is a philosophy course.
Yes.
It is a study of humanity. It's a sociological examination of our deepest and darkest moments as humanity. And I think it's something that only a really confident as fuck director can actually pull off. And damn
Good
it,
point
that's
on that
freaking
one.
Christopher Nolan. Right, he took so many things, and I mean, we cannot say enough about Heath Ledger. Like, watching this, I looked over at the wife, and I was like, "This is maybe the greatest piece of acting in the history of cinema," and I do mean that. And
I agree. I agree.
arguably so. I think that the more times I watch this, the more times I'm literally baffled, because this is not the same guy that's in 10 Things I Hate About You. This is not the same guy that's in Knight's Tale. Those are great movies, but this is whole nother level shit right here. But we have to look at the whole package. Then the whole package is there, right? It has Chris Nolan. It has Chris Bale. It has, yes, Gary Oldman, who can play literally anybody. He could play
Love
an
him.
envelope. He could play an envelope at the post office, and I'd believe the shit out of it.
I will watch the movie.
Morgan Freeman.
Yeah. So my only problem, and I am a little hung up on this, is that for a movie so fully attention to detail oriented, Harvey Dent slides way too quick, way too much. Right. I wish that they had just tamed it back just a little bit. Let him go crazy. That's fine, but just not so over the top. And Sean, I do agree with you that going after Gordon and his family it just didn't connect. And that one is kind of a big deal for me. So I'm going to go with a double shot. I'm going to go with a 0.75 on this one. I just made that up.
Not a double
That's
shot.
not a double shot.
That's
What is
like
a double
shot?
and a half.
A double shot's
A double
0.5.
shot is a 1.
No, it's not. No, it's
A half
not.
a shot.
I've got the
shot.
shit right in front of me. You know
So
what
a
a 1
shot-
is? It means that I am feeling good after my first fucking cocktail, not a shot.
No,
I got my
a
fucking
double
pina
shot,
colada.
2 shots, 0.5 plus 0.5 is 1. So
Okay,
what
fine.
is your
0.5.
score?
He said 0.75.
You said a 0.75.
Okay.
And he's got a
Yeah.
0.25. I got a 0.75. That equals out to a 1. What the fuck you got?
No, Jeremiah.
Sean. No, Sean. I want Sean to go. You can't.
This
vary.
is my
No.
movie.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Jared, go for it.
No, I'll do it. It's fine.
Okay, fine.
So, I really enjoyed the complexity of this movie, and I know the morality questions are hard sometimes to talk about. And they're hard for me, especially because I don't like anti-heroes. I don't like the concept.
What is
No,
an
you
anti-hero,
don't.
Sean?
No, you don't.
Okay, freaking
Stop.
Tyler Durden.
I don't like when people break their ethical and moral codes in order to preserve the greater good. I think you preserve the greater good by being moral and ethical. I don't think you break your principles and expect a actual society to improve. That's just the way that I operate. My mind operates. But I enjoyed the exercise. I enjoyed watching the struggle on screen. I think that Christopher Nolan did a masterful job of creating a villain with no backstory, with no history, with absolutely nothing, and brought this character from the page to the screen. And I think without a performance like Heath Ledger, it would have been tawdry and simple and something like Jared Leto did in the new movies.
Jared Leto.
I am not a fan of Maggie Gyllenhaal in most of the stuff that she does. I don't think she was particularly attractive in this movie.
She was better than Katie Holmes.
Whoa, bro.
She was better than Katie Holmes.
Wow.
No, Katie Holmes is freaking adorable.
No.
I thought that they kind of ruined her character a little bit by not exploring a relationship. I feel like this movie could have been split into 2 movies and probably should have been split into 2 movies. I would have liked, and it probably would have today, I would have liked some sort of a cliffhanger ending and then a whole new relationship of how Dawes and Dent came together. I would have liked more. And I feel like knowing what the next movie did and how poor that movie was.
Arguably, I like it.
It wasn't poor.
Okay. Yeah, it was.
Well,
Anyway.
that's 2 people saying no.
Okay, that's fine. It was terrible.
No,
Anyway,
it wasn't.
I felt like we were cheated out of Harvey Dent, and I feel like that character
Yes.
was super interesting and could have been really cool. What I like about what Burton did, and I'm not a fan of Burton's Batmans necessarily, is that his plan was to bring Billy D. Williams in and kind of create a backstory and flow him into the villain as opposed to just introducing him in a movie. So I do feel like they rushed it slightly. I don't know why. I don't know why that happened, but at the end of the day, it hurt my score. So I'm going to give this movie a 1, a feel good first cocktail. I think it's probably better than that, but at the end of the day, the ending to me was less than the other 3/4 of the movie. It didn't quite hit all the notes I wanted to hit because I felt like it was ready to give me a third story that it didn't give. Jeremiah.
You know that scene in the movie where he says you change things forever? That scene where the Joker's telling the Batman, The Dark Knight changed movies forever. It changed the comic book and how comic books we see it. This movie was before the whole MCU machine that it is now, Whatever DC did afterwards, that's on their shit. But, seriously, this one right here stands on its own. This probably has to be the greatest comic book movie ever. To me, this is a masterpiece. Seriously, the characters in the cast are amazing. The picture looks great. The cinematography is unbelievable. The music, Hans Zimmer's score is unbelievable. In the ending of that movie, you feel the strings. You feel the pain that Batman's feeling in this movie.
We even talked about the music.
No, I was trying to talk about it, man. The music was a character on its own. Heath Ledger, seriously, gave the greatest performance of all time. The greatest performance. And I know that people say that's a bold statement. Bullshit. Fuck you all. That is the greatest performance of all time. Seriously. The end of the movie where it's like he's not the White Knight. He's the Dark Knight. He will be in the shadows. He's going to take the heat. He will be the person, the sacrifice of all sacrifice. I was sitting with my fiance, and I literally showed her, like, look at this. I have chills watching that part. This movie's a fucking 0. And I mean it with the best way. I know I've probably done a lot of zeros here, but this movie is so good that you need
Sean's
to...
giving more zeros than you.
You need to watch this over again. And you need to appreciate it.
Actually at you, but Iron Man was in May, and this was in July. So
he said once it got cranking.
I said once it did the MCU machine.
MCU shit.
Yes.
Where they're releasing every 4 months. I'm just saying, this one had more class, and it took its time to find its characters, and it stands on its own. It's a 0 for me, guys. So there you go.
Awesome.
I like it. Awesome.
I'm okay with that.
Eddie, when we combine the scores and divide by 4, what does Dark Knight give us an average rating of?
Let me use my beautiful mind here.
You're welcome, Ed.
Carry the one. It's a 0.5.
0.5.
I don't have the list in front of me.
I do.
Go ahead.
It is tied with Perks of Being a Freaking Wallflower.
Nice.
It is.
So
it's in the top 5.
For third.
It's
tied for third.
It's in the top 5.
It is. The top 3.
0.25. Interesting that Joker and Dark Knight are so close to each other. I think that's an interesting little wrinkle in that.
So wait. Name the top 5 again.
Better than Joker.
Worse than The Dark Knight is The Sound of Music at a 0.56, The Sandlot at a 0.56, and The Joker at 0.625. Above it is tied with it is Perks of Being a Wallflower. Godfather, Jurassic Park, and Field of Dreams are all above it at 0.25, and Empire Strikes Back sits at the very top of our list at 0.0625.
So it's in the top. It's in the top golden part of our list.
It's in the top 3. Top 3.
Yeah. Technically it's third.
It's tied for third, but in the top 5.
In the top 5 for sure. So I think
listeners, I mean, just go a chance. It's on HBO Max or whatnot. Watch the movie. It's there. Get yourself.
And let us know your thoughts.
Yeah,
do you agree? Do you disagree?
Listen to our podcast, because I just found us on Amazon Music today, and I became a subscriber. So I was very proud of myself for that.
Thank you for all who's actually been subscribing on all these different podcast apps. By the way, we see all these different type of podcast apps that we're getting listens and downloads. We are seriously this is the coolest thing ever. And we're just grateful for all these little things here. So please share it with your friends, your family. It's the holidays coming up and everything like that. Let it happen, my friends. You know what? And talk to us. We love to communicate.
Yeah, if you want to hear a movie from us, or if you want us to do a movie, please shoot us an email. We definitely see the emails. Sean likes to read the emails about him. So
if
let
you
us
want to
know.
complain about Brandon, by all means.
Make this a holiday treat, is that you can sit down at Thanksgiving and just listen to 3.5 Gentlemen and debate who is the half. It's
Why
Sean.
why so serious, Brandon?
If you enjoy our review or a fan of the podcast, we ask you please subscribe.
You want to see a match trick?
And leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. You can also find us on Instagram at @the.gentleman podcast, @the.gentleman podcast. You can visit our website at thegentlemanpodcast.com, and you can reach out to us at hosts, HOSTS, at thegentlemanpodcast.com. Thank you all for listening so much. And wait a minute. Hold on. Jeremiah, what do we have next week?
Oh, I believe this is going to be Eddie's pick.
2 weeks. Excuse me, 2 weeks.
This is going to be Eddie's pick, actually. We're going to actually go and do a little football movie, I believe. What do you think, Eddie? What is it?
Are we going to go back to the 60s? I'm excited. It's our first Denzel movie.
Dude, this is going to be awesome, man. This is going to be a good movie, dude.
You made sure they remember when they played the Titans.
Anyway, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the other side.
This drink was horrible.
This was really, really bad.
Cheers, gentlemen. Cheers.
Needs more. Needs a lot of ice.
This is actually maybe our best one.
Wait. Give me your best Batman voice. I just want to hear your cool Batman voice.
I am Batman.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Jeremy?
So, did you ever see the Tom Holland?
I'm Batman. I'm Batman.
Brandon?
I'm Batman.
Oh, that was
That's pretty
good,
good.
dude. That was good, Brandon. Shit.